On October 31st, 2020, Jesse Anderson had invited some of his friends over for a Halloween party. Just a few hours before the party started, everyone cancelled. It felt like a punch in the gut. Jesse has three major fears: drowning, failure, and abandonment. This felt like all three. He went into the worst depressive episode he'd ever had. He deleted every single social media he had. Instagram, Twitter, Discord, Facebook, gone. A week passed and no one had even noticed he had disappeared. He sunk deeper into his nocturnal regime, doing nothing but reading Murakami novels and watching tacky films. It seemed this time he'd gone too far and there seemed to be no turning back. That is when reality truly hit him. There is no one in the world you'll ever be able to count on except yourself. He wallowed in self-pity and self-hatred for weeks, until he remembered the most important thing he ever learned from a Murakami novel. Don't feel sorry for yourself. Only assholes do that. And so he started to spend his time in the sun again, reading on picnic blankets in rose gardens, sitting under trees and doing Sudoku, listening to Frank Sinatra or cooking Italian food for dinner, watching all of the 1940s Dick Tracy detective films in all their problematic glory, made so many fluffy loaves of fresh bread. Soon enough, a couple of his friends reached out and he felt like he could see them again. Everything kinda all worked out in the end. But months passed and still not a single one of his old friends reached out. There were two possibilities. Possibility the first: they didn't really care that he'd gone. Maybe some of them were even relieved. Possibility the second: they hadn't even noticed he'd disappeared. He didn't know which one scared him more.
I've been trying to write down on this sheet of paper what else I want to say, and I don't know, it's pretty rough. The gist of it all is that I just want to remember what is important to me and what is authentic. I lost almost every single friend I have, and it was more the universe being like, if you don't get rid of them, I will. Because I have trust issues, I have abandonment issues, and I just let people walk all over me. I not suck up to people, I'm a people pleaser. And I let people use me and treat me like shit. I'm that friend that would always ask to make plans and no one would ever make plans with me, kind of thing. I lost friends, not just because of the party, that was just like the peak of it. I lost friends because they were supportive of famous YouTubers that I personally know who are grooming children of pedophiles. I lost friends because they were they chose quarantine to be their hot girl summer, and they were getting coronavirus tests every week as much as they were getting STD tests. I lost friends because they wanted to breed dogs that had such bad bone disfigurement that they had to save money to pay for the surgeries that would happen if their dogs got injured. Just, I don't know where I find these people. And I'm not as sad as I thought I would be. My main thing is, I'm so glad I'm off social media, and not in like a very like self-righteous way, more in a, I can stop thinking about art from a social media way, like Instagram art. I hate it. I've always hated Instagram. That's why I've kept deleting it. I have this wall of art in front of me of stuff that I've collected, and like, this is the perfect combination of everything I want to make. Like cultural work, colourful work, philosophical work, botanical work, landscape work, like abstract stuff, conceptual, like the idea of how do we think, what do colors mean. The internet was an evil place for my brain. Oh yeah, I can actually see the wall in the back. Hello, that's my mirror. I am slightly less miserable than I used to be. And I'm trying to think of the good old days of YouTube. Like, there was a lot of problematic shit on YouTube, let's be real. But when people talk about the 60s, okay, let's be real again. When white people talk about the 60s, they talk about the music, the fashion, the simplicity of things. I was telling my little brother how much I miss the way, I mean, I hated my childhood. I suffered, I hated it. I was in hospital most of the time. I didn't have friends. I was just a miserable, undiagnosed autistic kid, just painfully struggling through the world, not fitting in. But I loved not knowing something and having to walk to the library or ride my bike to the library and look through books. And I feel like that struggle for knowledge is what made things enjoyable and fun and made you remember them. Now you just Google something, and like, that's not a bad thing. But with me and making art, Instagram and Pinterest is okay. I'm not mad at Pinterest. But Instagram would just shove art down my throat, and a lot of it was just really shitty comic art. Like, there are Instagram artists with like 6 million, 10 million followers, and they just make really shitty drawings. And shitty drawings can be really good. I mean, Dave Shrigley is like amazing, but it's not that he has the formal training. He's just got a lot of magic behind it. I want to make the work I want to see. Like, that's my goal. I'm not going to have a schedule. I'm not going to have a particular theme to what I'm doing. Am I going to throw up a cooking video? Who knows? Am I going to do a vlog? Am I going to do some lifestyle shit? I want to make a YouTube channel of everything I care about, everything I want to make. I want to make an old school, early 2000s, 2007 era YouTube channel. That's what I want to have. I look at Lizzo and I look at how she is this beautiful black woman who is not only not afraid of being fat, is proud of it, is using it as a point of love and adoration of herself, of glorifying these generations of black women who have been ripped off. She did this talk with, I think, Jamila Jamil, this podcast app, where she was talking about how she was a classical musician and she didn't know if she could get into pop music, R&B, whatever, because she was a classical musician and she was classically trained on the flute and all that, and she didn't think she could, you know, fit into either world, and she just combined the two. She was like, that's what I want to do, that's what I want in the world, that's what I wish I could listen to, and that's what I'm gonna make. And the thing that made her difficult for people to process is what made her brilliant, what made people love her. I also love Lewis Capaldi in the way that his music is so poignant and depressing and like achingly beautiful. And his music is sad, but he's a happy dude. Like, he uses music to, like, as a form of therapy. Not that your art should be a source of, like, your pain should be a source of art, like, you know, the tragic artist, blah blah blah. I'm literally looking at a picture of Vincent van Gogh on my wall. Vincent van Gogh, if we're gonna be pretentious about it, or accurate, you know? Pronounce people's names correctly, full stop. Anyway, he's got like this beautiful, rich, velvety music, and he's just a freaking wanker. He's just like this ridiculous Scottish guy, just full of absolute stupid jokes, and I love that, and I love that energy about him. And I want something similar to be associated with me, that I can make, you know, conceptual work, I can make, you know, installation work that's very high art that people can go and experience, and I can still do David Shrigley type shitty drawings, or like just talk crap on the internet about why I hate Jackson Pollock. That is a video I really want to make. I don't want to be stuck somewhere that I hate, and so I want to be able to have YouTube as an option, as a part-time or full-time career. If I can't make it as a professor, I would love to have my YouTube school of art history and talking shit about dead artists and like tax evasion and how so many great artworks are just hidden away in hermetically sealed warehouses so that rich people can pop them out when they have tax problems and donate it to a museum. Whole thing. But I'd also love to work in a gallery. I'd love to run a gallery that's not full of shit. That's for people by people, where everyone gets something out of it and like properly get something out of it. I'd love to do full-scale exhibitions. My dream is to be invited to the Venice Biennale as either the Australian representative artist or the Romanian representative artist. If I was invited as the Romanian representative artist, that would be insane, honestly. I would cry so hard because Australia is whatever, but the home I never had. Yeah, that would be cool. I want to go to New York. I want to go to London. I want to write books. I scrapped my novel. That's a video for another time. There's so much life I want to live, and I have not been able to live because I was robbed of my life, basically. I was very sick as a child, very sick as a teenager, and I've only recently found a doctor. I don't want this to become like a whole TMI vlog about my whole life, but I've been chronically ill my entire life. I finally found a doctor who took me seriously, and I genuinely cried out of her, like coming out of her office, and I told her, I was like, "You are the first person who's ever taken me seriously." And she was just like, "Oh my god." This is the first time in my life that I'm actually genuinely feeling like I'm on the right path. Like I'm actually going where I want to be. And that makes me both really proud of myself and very anxious. So we'll just have to wait and see how it goes. I was constantly told I talked too much as a kid, and it just made me very quiet in high school, and I didn't have any friends. I was in the library all the time, and I always felt guilty for being talkative when I opened up to people. And just finding my people made me realize that I'm not the problem, other people are. Like, you know, that can be a very toxic thing, but in this situation, it really was just like, some of the people I've lost contact with aren't bad people. It's just they're not right for me. But a lot of them were bad people. And it really was because I try to see the best in people, and I don't want to upset others, and there's friend groups that I get involved in, and it's just the whole thing. Like a guy who dated my friend, treated her like shit, and then is dating a girl now that looks identical to my friend. He brought her to an event, and I was talking to him. I was like, "Oh, I thought you weren't coming tonight." And he panicked because he realized that I thought she was my friend, and he knew it. Did that make any sense? Anyway, I'm just gonna live a life that baby Jessie would be proud of. Like, if all my wildest dreams, I'm not gonna try and build my future. I'm gonna build my now. I'm gonna be making focaccia every day. I'm gonna be making mushroom soup. I made a really good mushroom soup today. Shit, man, really good mushroom soup. I'm gonna draw what I want to draw. I want to write what I want to write. I want to just build my space and my world around myself in a way that is good for me, but also puts me in a place where I can do things for others. Because if you can't take care of yourself, you will burn out, and you will not be able to do shit for anyone else. And I learned that the hard way. So yeah, that's all I've got to say on this humid night. Thank you for watching if you've come this far. That's how I am. The good thing about hitting rock bottom is that there's nowhere to go but up. 2020 is the year I found myself, and 2021 is the year I build myself. So get ready, because I'm not. God, sign me up to do high school motivational speeches.